I told myself, you're falling behind. You can't take a break. You'll lose momentum. If you don't keep pushing, everything you built will collapse. And that is a lie so many of us quietly believe, especially as leaders, that rest equals weakness, that slowing down means failure, that if we're not constantly doing, we're not worthy of the success we want. Hello and welcome back to Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I'm going to start off by asking, have you ever hit a season where nothing feels exciting? Your calendar's full, your projects and tasks are clear, the goals are there, but that spark of drive is just gone. No motivation, no fire, not even a creative pull. You're showing up because you have to, because people are counting on you, because you're the one holding the vision, the team, the project to-do list. But inside, you just feel blah. If you're a CEO, a business owner, a leader, you have probably had one of those seasons before, where just nothing feels motivating, where the joy that once fueled your big ideas have fizzled, and instead of feeling inspired, you're just exhausted. I have been there. It was just last year that I felt like I was dragging myself through every day. Not because I didn't love my work, but because I had done too much for too long. And somewhere along the way, I had burned out my own brilliance. I'd sit at my computer and just stare at the screen, hoping if I clicked around enough, the motivation would magically reappear. But that did not work, and I would usually just start spiraling with these thoughts. If I didn't keep pushing, I'd fall behind. If I lose momentum, I would lose clients. And would I ever get my spark back? What was wrong with me? There is this pressure we don't talk about, the pressure of being a leader, someone who's supposed to have the answers, the plan, the energy, even when you don't feel like yourself. And that's what we're diving in today. What to do when nothing feels exciting. How to keep leading even when you feel uninspired, and how to reconnect to clarity, creativity, and momentum without burning yourself out. Because this isn't just about mindset. It's about leadership, self-leadership. It's about running a business that's built to last, about being the kind of leader who knows how to navigate low seasons and not just the high energy ones. So if you've lost your spark, this episode is the gentle reminder your spark is not gone. It's just buried a little too deep for you to see right now. And together, we're going to uncover it. One breath, one breadcrumb, one realignment at a time. I'm going to start by wrapping back to that point in my business when I hit a wall. Not a dramatic, like everything is falling apart kind of a wall, but more like a slow fade. At first, it was subtle, like I was just a little more tired than usual, a little less excited to jump into my work. And then it started snowballing. I'd open my laptop, stare at the screen, and feel nothing. I had projects, I had clients, I had goals, but everything felt just like I was wading through concrete. I loved working with my clients, but there was so much behind the scenes weighing me down that I just wasn't even excited to wake up in the morning anymore. I just wanted to lay in bed and watch TV all day. And the worst part was I started making this lack of motivation mean something about me. I told myself, you're falling behind. You can't take a break. You'll lose momentum. If you don't keep pushing, everything you built will collapse. And that is a lie so many of us quietly believe, especially as leaders, that rest equals weakness, that slowing down means failure, that if we're not constantly doing, we're not worthy of the success we want. I wasn't just tired and drained out, but I was scared because the pressure to perform never pauses when you're the one in charge. There's an endless pressure to show up, create, and deliver. And that's the one thing I don't think anyone really prepares you for when you're the one in charge. Even when you're not feeling it, you still have people looking up to you for direction. There's clients, there's contractors, there's partners, there's peers. You're the one that's supposed to have the fire, the plan, the momentum. And when you don't, it's easy to spiral into shame, to wonder, am I losing my edge? To question, maybe you're just not cut out for this after all. It took me a while to dig myself out of my hole, but here's what I've learned. That blah, sparkless season wasn't a sign I was broken. It was a sign I needed to recalibrate, because I didn't actually lose my motivation. I had burned it out by doing too much of what I thought I should do and not enough of what actually lit me up. I was drowning in over responsibility, trying to prove myself, trying to be on all the time. In the process, I had unintentionally disconnected from the very reason I started this business in the first place. Joy, freedom, creativity, and purpose. The things that made me feel alive inside. That season for me last year really taught me something that has stuck with me. When your spark is gone, it's not your fault. It's your internal system waving a white flag. It's like your soul is saying, let's try a different way. So now you might be wondering, how did I get myself out of my hole? What actually helps when nothing feels exciting? I could tell you what didn't work was trying to force clarity, push harder, or hope motivation would magically come back if I stared at my laptop long enough. Most advice out there tells you to either rest or push through. And honestly, that is confusing when you're already struggling and both options feel wrong. And well, my friend, surprise, you don't actually need to choose. In my case, I needed both, but I first had to learn to tell the difference between the kind of tired that needed physical rest and the kind of stuckness that just needed a bit of reconnection, because not all blah feelings mean burnout. Sometimes it's misalignment. Sometimes it's the loss of spark and not capacity. When you're a CEO, a leader, or business owner, you can't always just disappear for 6 months waiting for your muse to return. And I don't know about you, but I'm not quite there yet. You have people to lead, you have a mission to hold, decisions to make. So here's what helped me reconnect to my spark and what might help you too. First up, the most important thing to make any change is awareness. And for me, I focused on awareness of what I was feeling when I was losing that spark and tapping into the human design layer of this. Each human design type has a signature feeling when things are going well, and a not self signal when things are off. For generators and manifesting generators, when things are not aligned for you, you're going to start feeling frustrated, a meh, when things aren't lighting you up. What you want to feel is satisfied to know when you're aligned. For projectors, you will feel bitterness that creeps in when you're working too hard without recognition. You want to feel successful to know when things are aligned. For manifestors, you feel anger or apathy when creative urges disappear and you feel boxed in. You want to focus on bringing a feeling of peace back so you feel aligned. And reflectors, you will feel disoriented, kind of like a disappointment fog when your environment feels off. When everything is aligned for you, you're going to feel like everything in life is a joyful surprise. So really pay attention to what your environment feels like to realign yourself back to surprising feelings. These not self feelings aren't flaws, they're just signals, built-in notifications that something needs adjusting, not fixing. By understanding what it meant when I felt frustrated really helped me stop fighting that fog and start listening to it. Because burnout, frustration, anger, bitterness, disappointment, or just foggy energy often means you've been responding out of obligation, not alignment. The more awareness you have on how you feel, the easier it will be for you to respond, wait, or act clearly and notice when you're going down this path before you completely burn out. So you could intervene and make a few changes to realign to your path. All right, what helped me next was creating spaciousness and stop shaming rest. One of the best leadership tools I have found is space. Remove the shoulds where possible. Cancel what doesn't need to happen. Take a day off just because your nervous system said please. Allow mental, emotional, and physical space to rest. And schedule in time to play and have fun, however that might look to you. Because remember, rest isn't a reward for once you burn out. Rest is a space where clarity can return. Play can be productive. Silence is strategic, and joy is your fuel. Give yourself permission to pause without guilt. The third thing that really helped me was, instead of waiting for clarity, I followed my curiosity. Like I mentioned, I used to sit around waiting for that magical moment when motivation would return. And sadly, it never did, if only. But what finally helped me was following teeny glimmers of curiosity. Not huge, earth-shattering passion, just what interested me. What made me feel slightly more alive. What could I explore with a why not instead of a I should? What felt playful, even if it wasn't productive? Was it switching up my schedule, playing with a new offer idea, rearranging my office, or just talking to a friend about something completely unrelated to business? Those micro moments became breadcrumbs, and one breadcrumb at a time, I started remembering what lit me up in the first place, because clarity isn't always a thunderbolt that just strikes. Sometimes it's a whisper, and when you follow that whisper with trust, the sparks begin to return. Momentum anywhere creates momentum everywhere. The fourth thing that helped me was it really helped to reconnect to my why and not just focus on my to-do list. When nothing excites you, being productive by checking off more boxes won't fix it. I kept trying to get myself back on track by doing more, and it was not helping. The real shift came when I asked myself, why am I doing this in the first place? For me, my answer was freedom. I started this business to create a life of choice, of joy, of creativity, of connection. But I had built a calendar that looked more like a cage. So instead of asking, what do I need to do? I started making decisions based on how I wanted to feel. And that changed everything. I wanted to feel freedom, so I started figuring out things I could do that would allow me to feel more freedom, because leadership isn't just about execution. It's about embodiment. And when you lead from your why, your business becomes magnetic again. And it all starts with how you feel on the inside. And the last thing that helped me was letting my strategy be seasonal. You are not a machine. You are not meant to run on full throttle 12 months a year. Nature has seasons, and so do you. As a leader, part of your job is to honor your own rhythm so you could create sustainable momentum. That might look like simplifying your offers during low seasons, rescheduling meetings, or shifting into a season of visibility when your creativity is drained. Or that might look like summer Fridays, taking time off around the holidays, or blocking off your calendar at 4 p.m. each day for rest or creative time. Each day, I have nothing planned after 4 p.m., so I could just let my creative juices flow and see where life takes me. When I stopped trying to force spring energy during a personal winter, I stopped shaming myself and started leading myself. And from self-leadership, things began to bloom again naturally. So let's take a breath and recap what we talked about. If you're in a season where nothing feels exciting, you're not broken. It might just mean you've outgrown the version of your business you've been running. Or maybe you've just been living in shoulds for too long and you forgot what joy feels like. Or maybe your internal system is waving a flag asking you for something softer, truer, and more you. What matters most is this. You're not meant to power through. You're meant to pause, to play, to realign, to experiment, to remember who you are and what makes you come alive. You don't have to have this all figured out to start feeling better. You just need to follow one breadcrumb, one glimmer, one breath of trust that says, this feels a little lighter. Because the leaders who are fulfilled aren't the ones who hustled hardest. They're the ones who know how to recalibrate when that spark gets quiet. So here's your invitation. Follow your curiosity this week, even if it's small, even if it's not productive, and especially follow it if it's playful. If this episode resonated with you, leave a comment or DM me and tell me your biggest takeaway. I love hearing what's shifting for you. And if you're craving deeper support to realign with what makes you feel alive, check out my Liberate Your Genius session. In 90 minutes, we'll dive into your human design, clarify your goals, and map a path forward that actually feels exciting again. You don't need to force your fire. You just need to remember where to find it. Until next time, keep rebelling, keep rising. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I hope you feel inspired to break free from those shoulds in your life and trust your inner compass as you create a life and business that truly lights you up. Remember, every day is a chance to rebel against the ordinary and rise into your authentic power. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow rebel who's ready to lead their lives unapologetically. Until next time, keep trusting your intuition, keep breaking the rules, and most importantly, keep rising.